Hello, everyone, and welcome to my talk from Hackathon to Marketplace, building a Magnolia YAML assistant plugin. Let me introduce myself. I'm Natalia Khodiakova, a software architect and team lead at Ray Sono. Over the past 12 years, I've become fluent in Java and have worked on a wide range of projects in backend development, DevOps, and cloud, all the way up to software architecture. I'm also passionate about hackathons, both organizing and participating in them, which we frequently do at Ray Sono. Ray Sono is a digital agency based in Germany with its headquarters in Munich, where I'm currently located, and additional offices in Berlin and Frankfurt. Our employees, who proudly call themselves Rays, now number 270, and we've been in the market for over 30 years now. Ray Sono has a broad skill set centered around three main pillars: strategic experience design, digital communications, and IT development. Our team of over 40 developers works on all sorts of cool projects, from apps and microservices to IoT, cloud stuff, and content management systems. We've got a pretty diverse lineup of things we work on, but today I'm going to talk about one in particular, Magnolia CMS. Now, if you haven't heard of Magnolia, it's basically a Java-based content management system that a lot of companies use to manage their digital content. It allows editors to create enterprise-level websites and portals. It's huge and flexible, and anything you might want to connect can be programmed in good old Java. However, there is also an option to configure templates and dialogues with YAML files. This feature is called fly development because of its simplicity and ability to change things on the fly. While this approach gives you a lot of flexibility, it's also based on YAML and comes with some headaches. And that's where our journey begins. So, how did this all start? Well, it began with a bit of frustration. Like many of you, we developers at Ray Sono love finding ways to be more efficient and productive. But when it came to working with Magnolia slide development, we hit some roadblocks. As you already know, Magnolia CMS relies a lot on YAML files for its configurations. Things like setting up dialogues, content structures, and various other settings. YAML is a markup language that's pretty easy to read, but it's also easy to mess up. One extra space or a misplaced character, and you're stuck troubleshooting why something isn't working. To make things more challenging, navigating between these configuration files is a nightmare. Each different type of configuration has its own directory structure. Some YAML files are referenced by relative paths, while dialogues are referenced by module names. So as soon as you start working on these components, most of your time ends up being spent scrolling through the file tree to find the right snippet. It kind of felt like we were constantly fighting against the system rather than letting it help us. Then came a perfect opportunity to change that: a hackathon. For those who aren't familiar, a hackathon is basically an event where you get a day or two to step away from your usual tasks and focus entirely on a side project. The goal is to build something quickly, whether it's solving a problem, testing out a new idea, or just experimenting with new technologies. It's fast-paced, chaotic, and a lot of fun. But more importantly, it gives you the freedom to focus on a problem that matters to you without the usual pressure of deadlines or expectations. Hackathons are perfect for tackling problems like the one we had with Magnolia, because they let you try out old ideas without worrying about whether it's a perfect solution. It's all about experimentation and rapid development. We saw it as a chance to take the pain points we were experiencing every day and turn them into something productive. The best part was that we got to set our own goals and requirements. So we could focus on the things that would make the biggest difference for us as developers. And that's how the journey began. Before I dive deeper, I want to show you a quick demo that really captures the difference our plugin makes. In this video, you'll first see what it was like to develop with Magnolia before we had the plugin. It's not exactly a pleasant experience, a never-ending search of the right file, manual configurations, and time spent hunting down YAML mistakes. Every change felt like it took forever. Then you'll see the after, what development looks like with the plugin. You'll notice how much smoother and faster everything is. Autocomplete catches potential errors, navigation between YAML files and code is quick, and overall the whole process is much more streamlined. It's a complete turnaround from where we started. So let's take a look. So now you have an idea of what we're talking about. Let's dive deeper into each stage of the journey. First things first, we set a date and wrote a Teams post. We aimed for February 2021, and since it was during pandemic times, it was important to plan everything carefully. Enough space and pizza for everyone. With the hackathon date set, we knew it was time to get organized and make sure we had a solid plan. The initial idea was to have two teams, one focusing on integrating the plugin with Magnolia, and the other on building a license server to manage access. But here's the kicker. We didn't have any prior experience developing plugins for IntelliJ. None of us had done this kind of development before, so we were starting from scratch in that sense. Because of that, we decided we needed to be smart about our approach. The last thing we wanted was to spend the first half of the hackathon just trying to figure out the basics or dealing with setup issues. So, to give ourselves a bit of a head start, we prepared an empty module in advance. We followed an IntelliJ tutorial to set up a basic plugin framework, just enough to have something that would compile and run right from the beginning. This was a critical step because it gave us a functioning foundation to build on rather than starting completely from zero. In the end, this preparation was crucial for our confidence and momentum. It allowed us to start the hackathon with a clear path forward, knowing that we'd already taken care of the initial hurdles. And given that none of us were experts in IntelliJ plugin development, that little bit of groundwork made all the difference. With everything set up and ready to go, we came to the office, grabbed our first cup of coffee, and started writing code. But as with most projects, things didn't exactly go according to plan. We originally intended to have one team work on the Magnolia integration and another on building a license server. However, as we dove in, we quickly discovered that there was a much easier solution, the JetBrains Marketplace. We realized that the marketplace had built-in support for managing licenses and making our initial license server plan unnecessary. So we decided to pivot. Instead of two teams, we reorganized into three smaller teams to maximize our efforts. Each team focused on developing a different feature for the plugin. This was a bit of a scramble, but it allowed us to adapt quickly and get more done. Here's what we ended up focusing on. Our main focus was improving navigation. We built jump navigation not only from YAML to Java code, but also between different YAML files, dialog definitions, components, and templates. The navigation takes into account the position in the YAML file, such as whether the link is a value of a node or an include block. It also considers where it leads to a component, dialog, template, or a Java class. So now navigation between the files in the Magnolia universe was just one click away. Another pain point was dealing with YAML syntax and keywords that are allowed in Magnolia. So we prioritized building a schema autocomplete feature. Of course, you can customize IntelliJ schema for YAML, but that would require manual configuration in the UI. So our plugin comes with built-in schema definitions that are automatically activated in the light development context. Since different versions of Magnolia might use slightly different YAML configurations, we made this feature configurable to support multiple versions. The right place to configure the Magnolia version in use is, of course, the plugin settings. So the third team focused on displaying and saving the plugin settings. The pace of development was incredible. By the end of just one day, we had multiple branches with almost complete features. We didn't just create a functional plugin, we ended up with a backlog of ideas and improvements to keep building on. The most important outcome, though, was the effect it had on our team. We were excited, energized, and genuinely happy with what we'd achieved in such a short amount of time. After the hackathon, we had a working prototype, but turning it into a full-fledged product required more effort. The first step was to define clear roles and goals for everyone involved. We wanted to keep the momentum going, so we assigned responsibilities right away. Some team members focused on refining the features we had built, while others took on new tasks like preparing for deployment or cooperating with other departments. We split into parallel development streams to tackle different aspects simultaneously. Our initial hackathon version worked, but there were plenty of rough edges to smooth out. The autocomplete feature was done by one team and the plugin settings by another. Merging the code between these two branches was definitely worth its own to-do item. The general refactoring resulted in a pretty concise package structure. As you can see, each feature got its own package, clearly showing where the classes reside. One of the biggest technical challenges came from how Magnolia handles YAML. Magnolia deviates from the standard YAML specification by using custom keywords like inherit and include. While this approach helps organize configurations, it also broke compatibility with IntelliJ YAML parser. To get our jump navigation feature to work correctly, we had to tweak our approach to handle these non-standard elements, which wasn't as straightforward as we'd hoped. It took quite a bit of trial and error to make the plugin robust enough for the real-world use. While some of us focused on code improvements, another group worked on preparing the plugin for deployment. We set up a GitLab pipeline to automate the deployment process, making it easier to publish new versions quickly and consistently. We also needed to find the right solution for code obfuscation to protect our intellectual property, which involved testing different obfuscators to compare their results. We ultimately chose Zelix Classmaster, but if you're building a product of your own, it's worth testing several options on the market to find the best fit for your needs. Additional deployment scans and preparations were, of course, also in place, and our hackathon project was gradually transforming into something that resembled a production-ready product. With the plugin refined and the deployment pipeline in place, it was time to launch on the marketplace. But getting there wasn't just a matter of uploading the code and hitting publish. We had a few important steps to ensure the smooth rollout. First, we applied to the marketplace to sell the plugin. It was just a matter of filling out a form and providing JetBrains with some additional details. Then we started with a demo marketplace. JetBrains gave us access to this environment, allowing us to test our deployment process without going live right away. We deployed the plugin there and configured our IntelliJ setups to access it, enable our developers at Ray Sono to install the plugin just like real users would. This provided an excellent way to test the full installation and update experience. Our team used the plugin in their daily work, providing valuable feedback and helping us catch any last-minute issues before the official release. We were essentially our own beta testers, with a feedback loop to the plugin developers being just as short as it gets. You could just walk over to the desk right beside you and report the bugs. The technical side of the go live was all set, but there were other considerations that were new to us, the legal and financial side of things. We had to collaborate closely with our internal teams to understand the marketplace agreements, the revenue sharing models, and how this new income stream would fit into our company's financial strategy. It was a significant learning curve for us, as this was Ray Sono's first experience generating revenue from a developer tool. It also led to some interesting cross-departmental collaboration that helped strengthen the project. Next came documentation and marketing. We put effort into creating clear documentation so developers could get up and running with the plugin quickly. The descriptions of the features and the screenshots had to be accurate and convey to our users right away what problems the plugin would solve for them. Setting a price for the plugin was surprisingly challenging. As developers, we felt the value of what we had built was practically priceless because we knew how much time and frustration it could save. But of course, we had to balance our expectations with the market reality. We aimed to find a price point that reflected the effort we put into the plugin while remaining accessible to the individual developers and small teams. That was a bit of a guessing game, and we had to do some market research to make sure we landed in the right range. Throughout this process, the support from JetBrains was fantastic. They were incredibly helpful in answering our questions and guiding us through our technical challenges. This collaboration made the whole experience a lot smoother and gave us confidence that we were heading in the right direction. Ultimately, launching the plugin was more than just a technical achievement, it was an important learning experience. We faced challenges with testing, pricing, and deployment, but we also saw the potential of our project validated as real users began downloading and using the plugin. So we launched the plugin on the official JetBrains Marketplace. It was an incredible feeling. At Ray Sono, we have a release fridge, and that day it served us well. After the official launch, we saw some immediate traction, which was really encouraging. And the first thing we did was make sure our internal developers had access to the plugin. So we generated 100% discount codes for them. This allowed our team to continue using the plugin under the same terms as our external users, which helped us gather even more feedback for future improvements. We also reached out to the Magnolia CMS team to let them know about the plugin, and that turned out to be a great move. They were interested in what we had built and ended up featuring our plugin on their own marketplace, giving us some extra visibility. This helped spread the word and reach a broader audience within the Magnolia community. As more developers started using the plugin, we transitioned from development mode into maintenance mode. This phase was all about keeping the momentum going, releasing updates, fixing bugs, and providing the support. We also took user feedback seriously, using it to guide our next steps and prioritize new features or enhancements. It was important to make sure that the plugin continued to meet the evolving needs of developers, especially as we gain more users. One of the most exciting things for us was seeing the global reach of the plugin. We started seeing sales from all over the world, which was a great validation of our work. In many ways, the plugin became a successful test balloon for us at Ray Sono, showing that we could create valuable developer tools and even generate revenue from them. It also opened up new possibilities for future projects and innovations within the company. I'm so excited to see this graph representing unique plugin downloads since the launch. It shows that the need for the features that we built is still there. Developers still rely on our jump navigation and autocomplete. It means our work is paying off. Let's recap our journey from the initial idea to a successful product. It all began with recognizing the need for a better development experience. We were facing repetitive tasks and ongoing issues in our daily work, which made it clear that something had to change. By reflecting on these pain points, we set out to find a solution that could make our workflow more efficient. The turning point came when we decided to take on the challenge during a hackathon. This gave us the perfect environment to quickly prototype and test our ideas, allowing us to validate the concept and see real results in a short amount of time. It was an exciting and fast-paced phase that laid the groundwork for everything that followed. From there, we focused on refining the prototype, making sure it was stable, robust, and ready for the real world. This involved tackling technical challenges head-on, improving the core features, and ensuring that the plugin met our quality standards. It was an iterative process with constant tweaks and enhancements to get it right. Finally, we launched the plugin, shared it with the world, and began promoting it. Since then, we've been in a continuous cycle of gathering user feedback, releasing updates, and making improvements. This ongoing commitment has been crucial to the plugin's growth and success, turning a simple hackathon idea into a valuable tool for developers everywhere. So, that brings us to the end of our journey, from a spark of an idea born out of frustration to a fully fledged plugin on the JetBrains Marketplace. Reflecting on this experience, there are a few key takeaways that stand out. Careful preparation can make all the difference. Set clear goals and understand what problem you're solving. That keeps everyone focused. Communicate timing and constraints so your team knows the limits and can plan accordingly. Read the documentation. Seriously, it saves so much time. Many issues can be avoided just by understanding the manual. If possible, use a jumpstart template to avoid starting from scratch and get a head start. And be ready to start right away. So when the hackathon kicks off, you can dive straight into the work without delays. Embracing change is all about staying flexible and ready to adapt. By implementing features in small chunks, you can adjust quickly if something changes. Be prepared to turn around at any moment because plans often shift, and being adaptable keeps you on track. Gathering feedback is also key. It keeps you catch issues early and stay aligned with what's needed. Finally, iterative improvement lets you seize new opportunities as they come up, turning challenges into chances for growth. Remember, it's not about avoiding change, it's about using it to your advantage. Collaboration really is at the heart of any successful project. We worked closely with developers to ensure the code was clean and maintainable. JetBrains provided great support, helping us navigate the process smoothly. We also partnered with designers to create a logo that truly represented the plugin. Engaging with legal and finance teams ensured that all our procedures were compliant, while marketing helped us spread the word effectively. We expanded our reach by collaborating with partners, and now sharing insights with the community allows us to learn from others and give back. This journey has given us the confidence to take on new challenges, knowing that even a simple idea can grow into something truly impactful. The key is having the right mindset, being prepared, and working as a team. When you combine those elements, you can transform ideas into powerful solutions that go beyond expectations. It's about recognizing potential in the small things, putting in the effort to bring them to life, and continuously pushing forward. With the right approach, there's no limit to what you can achieve. So, thank you for joining me today and sharing in our journey. I hope it inspired some ideas and gave you a sense of what's possible when you take an idea and just run with it. The sky's the limit. Don't wait for opportunities, create them, and watch how far you can go. Let's stay in touch. Scan the QR code to download the presentation slides. Check out our plugin on the JetBrains Marketplace. Let's connect on LinkedIn. And don't forget to visit Ray Sono website. Thank you.
You, Natalia, that was quite a story you had to tell.
Thank you.
Great story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope it inspires some of our viewers to try and build maybe a small plugin in their next hackathon if they do hackathons in their company. JetBrains does hackathons on a yearly basis, and I think we don't build a lot of plugins actually during hackathons. Funnily enough, you would think so, but I think that's mostly not the case. Yeah, I think that you already answered all the questions that we had already.
But we could bring them live anyway.
Sure. Maybe I can just tell a bit more than in the chat.
Yeah. So maybe let's start with a question from Adele, right? How do you fill your backlog, new feature ideas, and prioritize the features? So that's the first one.
So as to filling backlog, we wanted to solve some concrete problems of our developers. So it was pretty easy, as maybe with beta testing, just going to the desk right beside you and asking, hey guys, do you still missing something? Do you need something more? And basically that was how we filled our backlog back then. Right now, we don't have much more new features. We're more in the maintenance mode currently. So now it's not that the backlog is not that big. For the task tracker, of course, it depends. And like Ray Sono as a consultancy, we use like Jira and like standard tools when working on customer projects. This one was all for developers. We were our own customers. So we decided we just use GitLab issues. They have also like built into the task tracker, and we had everything in one place in GitLab. So yeah, that was how we managed that.
Okay, the other one. Could you share technical insights on dealing with include GitLab CI YAML has reference tags, which are currently not supported by IntelliJ, and those insights might be helpful.
Yeah, that was like the biggest problem. I spent a couple of sleepless nights with the include tag. The biggest problem is that the include in YAML standard. You can theoretically use that, but if you don't have a space between this tag and the content, then the YAML parser just says it's something invalid. I just ignore that. So to do that, to make this work, we had to go into YAML parser, into YAML plugin of IntelliJ. Look how it works. YAML plugin is a dependency of our plugin. We extend the YAML parser, and for the case if we are in Magnolia context and if we're dealing with this special tags, we just override that. So I can grab some code, and if you want deep, please reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can dive into this issue deeper, and I can share some insights and practical tips and show you how we manage with this problem.
Awesome. Another one related also to YAML. I'm the YAML parser developer. Can you share your solution with parser to make it publicly available?
Yes, awesome. That will be awesome. Of course, let's contact on LinkedIn and we will just solve this problem for everyone.
Yeah, so the last one we have right now is when you signed the agreement, do you agree with the reseller discount in the JetBrains resellers program or the JetBrains community support programs, user groups, students?
I don't know. I have to check that. That was like 3 years ago. I'm not pretty sure. Maybe my very confident answer is maybe.
Maybe. It depends.
I can check. Yeah, I can check with our finance and legal also for questions where I need some support from my team. Reach out on LinkedIn and we can chat about that.
It's great to hear you. And as a technical side note, I think there might be a lot of plugin ideas, that go in a similar direction on how you started your plugin. Like we need some more code insight in special configuration files, and it's pretty much doable, as you have proven, even in a small hackathon, to get something out of it, both for YAML, XML, JSON. There's a bunch of extension points in the IntelliJ platform that you can use for these things, and I think this is actually one of the easier plugins to build, generally speaking.
Yes, of course.
Because you are already building on the language support that is there, and the extension points are explicitly made to have these kinds of plugins that, customize basically the understanding of such configuration files at this place.
But at this point, huge thanks for the plugin template, because for Jumpstart, as I said, we didn't have any experience of developing that, and it was really cool because we just checked out the repository, we started it, and we had some scratch to start on, and it was really doable in one-day hackathon. Right.
Thank you.
Great. So thanks a lot for sharing your story, and congratulations to a very useful plugin that has hopefully moved a lot of people to use IntelliJ for their Magnolia development. So that's great to hear. Thank you for your time, and looking forward to more success for your plugin in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this wonderful conference.
Thanks.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.